Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment, so we have none other than David L. Rhodes. That being said, welcome to episode 659 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports. For institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington. Charles Bishop, as I said, will be making sure that we make room for the Professor David L. Rhodes as he's coming in as an adjunct, just trying to get a little bit of his credits there to get us going. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal out of KSWH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer, Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that being said, Charles, Professor Bishop, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Doc. Doing well. Other beyond Houston and its pollen is driving me crazy, but beyond that, I'm doing all right. My eyes in a fight over here.
Good stuff. I heard y'all looking for another president.
Yeah. Another one down. Another one bites the dust.
Y'all just shooting them down every couple months, huh? That's what y'all doing over there, over in Jackson, man?
Somebody asked the IHL what they doing. I have no.
I was gonna say IHL.
Yeah, they own that one. They own that bag.
Yeah, they gotta own it. So here we go again. Let's do it again. But I will say this: my classmate, while she was there, Denise Jones-Woody, tremendous in terms of her passion, her exuberance for Jackson State. So, I know she'll be the interim for a while, but I expect things to be, she runs a tight ship. So I like the way she does things.
Nice. So congratulations to her. Certainly with the great opportunity to steady the ship for a great institution. Don't let anybody belabor the fact, no matter what's going on in terms of the presidency, Mississippi, or IHL, the fact that Jackson State continues to educate students at all levels in the state of Mississippi and beyond needs to be said. So I want to make sure while we talk about the other issues and put them out there that are beyond sports, and the reason I say this when it is connected to sports from the standpoint that you have presidents that finalize the hire beyond what the board ratifies, bringing in coaches when coaches have to be dismissed, and including bringing in the VP of athletics in terms of Ashley Robinson. And it's amazing somebody that has so much changeover at the presidential level has been able to do things for the university with the athletic program thriving. In terms of being recognized for championships, tops in terms of all sports awards, in terms of that, in those top categories, fighting for position. So just wanted to recognize Ashley Robinson. Read this on Twitter, as I like to still call it, in terms of one of the media folks recognizing him in terms of what he had to do, and I wanted to echo that. I wanted to kind of put that on the table while we do kind of review a little bit, but not Jackson State. With that being said, David, what's on your mind? How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Doc. It's been a crazy week to say the least personally, but things are going. School's about to end. I'm about to have an empty nest for a little bit. I'm looking forward to that. So it's gonna be good.
Yeah, you say that until you turn around and you're looking for somebody there. You're like, oh man. I got to do this by myself.
I've been doing.
But it is appropriate that you just kidding. I know you're looking forward to it. That was you can't say that on the television though.
Oh, she knows.
She feels the same. But
much.
I would like to say congratulations to you in terms of your family, in terms of graduation, to her and all the other graduates. High school, particularly Texas Southern's graduation ceremony is tomorrow. We had some HBCUs that celebrated graduation last week. Many of them will do it this week, and some even have to push back to next week. But congratulations to all those individuals out there that are graduating, whether that's at the undergraduate or graduate level, master's and or doctoral program. There's one individual I do want to shout out, Dr. Billy Rosenberg. I've seen him come in, dual sports athlete coming in from Memphis, and what some people would say is the side of the Memphis that could be challenging for young folks that grow up in that area, particularly academic and other things. He was able to matriculate out of there and show that there are ways to move beyond your space and time. And not only has he done that in terms of graduating, playing two sports, football and basketball, winning championship in basketball, in terms of being able to do that. And more importantly, graduate and then move on to his master's. And now he is a holder of a doctorate. And so shout out to Billy Rosenberg, Dr. Billy Rosenberg to be exact. Proud of him. Remember, he was in my classroom, challenged him a little bit. He rose above it, had his own little demons, but he figured it out, like many of our students that come from all types of socioeconomic backgrounds. Had a chance to have breakfast with the president and the provost, as President Crawford III, Provost Goodman, in terms of a student that is the valedictorian. Student that in the military came back, wife in the military. He graduated valedictorian in our Department of Curriculum Instruction in terms of his EPP, coming out of kinesiology, earning his certification, has a job before he gets out of there, playing really well in a district that now is coming back and will recruit specific positions because of how much of a star he was and what he brought to the table. I want to recognize him in terms of his valedictorian. And then he had a chance, a salutatorian, whose parents are generations out of Langston University, 4 generations of Delta. So I thought that was magnificent. She happens to be a twin coming out of the Department of Biology and COSET. So that was magnificent, going through all that rehearsal practices. So wanted to shout out Texas Southern University, those students in particular. I give them a little love in terms of what's going on my side of the stage. As we close out the summer session, I'll need this little break. But wanted to make sure we acknowledged all those graduates out there doing great things. With that, Charles, go back to you. Some news of the day that you want to share?
Yeah, let's start off. SWAC Deputy Commissioner Dina Pooler. She was named to the NCAA Women's Bowling Committee and this comes to us from SWAC.org. The Southwestern Athletic Conference Deputy Commissioner Adina Pooler has been appointed to the NCAA Women's Bowling Committee for a term which will begin September 1st, 2025 through August 31st, 2029. And this is a statement from her. This appointment is a tremendous opportunity for me, and I'm truly humbled to be selected as a member of the NCAA Women's Bowling Committee. The NCAA Women's Bowling Committee is responsible for overseeing the NCAA Division 1, 2, and 3 Women's Bowling Championships. And this includes selecting teams for the championships, determining regional matchups, and enforcing rules and regulations. The committee also addresses issues like sportsmanship, misconduct, and disciplinary actions during the tournament. So congratulations to Ms. Pooler.
Congratulations, Ms. Pooler. Deputy Commissioner Pooler, as she was announced a couple of weeks ago with that raise and title change. And now she continues to do represent the SWAC in terms of being, as you said, on the NCAA Women's Bowling Committee. David, what direction you want to go into? What's on your mind?
I want to talk about some golf.
Go ahead. What's in the golf world? Charles
Yes.
appreciate this.
Yeah, well, so shout out to UAPB and North Carolina A&T on the women's side and UAPB on the men's side. They won the 2025 PGA World Collegiate Championship. UAPB pretty much dominated on the men's side. They won by 32 strokes against Prairie View. Prairie View was second, well, tied for second with North Carolina A&T. And for the women's side, A&T beat Howard by 1 stroke. And Alabama State was third place, was about 30 behind. It's an event that I've noticed they've done for the past couple of years. I think it's a really good event. And some guys get opportunities to actually get into the amateur tour as well, which is a good thing.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Want to take it in a direction. Got an opportunity to do an article in the AP in regarding to my thoughts from position in regards to studying sports studies and HBCUs. So obviously it's been a little while now, but talking about Shedeur Sanders and what took place during the draft, got a chance to provide some quotes on that. So that's out there. So I was wanted to share a little bit about that. If you get a chance, you can go read the article deciphering the reasons behind Shedeur Sanders' stunning free fall in the NFL draft. I was able to get quoted in that. Then got a chance to do a little more locally. The Black newspaper, the Houston Defender, actually working on a project. I want to shout out Dr. Tanisha Taylor. She is the director, if you would, of the Africana Futures Center of Africana Futures, and working on a project in terms of providing archival and collecting digital data for oral history, which will include some information on campus in terms of the history here in Emancipation Park, about among others. So got a chance to get some quoted in that. I want to shout out the Houston Defender for doing that article on TSU professor leads walking tour initiative in 3rd Ward. So from a national level to a local level, important to get our information and our perspective out there. So I wanted to share a little bit about that as well. With that being said, let's get into our first break. We'll come back on the other side. Want to talk a little bit about the softball tournament and want to talk a little bit about some BCSN on BCSN violence. OG Strike Zone to inside the HBCU Sports Lab, quack violence, one division to the other division. Just wanted to share a little update and how folks just ain't right. With that being said,
y'all crippin' up in there.
You know what I call it, right? The data is the data. Data's the data.
Hey, I'm not arguing with the data. If you say anything, men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
That's right.
Data can tell a different story based on who tells it. I'm just saying. With that being said, thank you. We'll take our first break, come back on the other side, let these guys get their thoughts on what's taking place out there. Shout out to Brian. I saw it on the show. They were a little nervous yesterday. Things weren't going right, but they popped back up. It worked out today, so shout out to them. So they got back out there and decided to do a little BCSC and old BCSC.
Old rattler spirit. Live
it's not nice. It's not nice, man. I welcome y'all into the party. You know, found the institution. You shouldn't do your founders like this. You should know better. With that being said, let's take our first break and come back on the other side.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural taste, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Press the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Let's talk a little SWAC softball. The game is going on as you get into it. It's between Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M. It's in the bottom of the first. And the Rattlers have taken an early lead, 1-0, as they have scored early. In the bottom of the first, it's 2 outs with the batter up and a runner on first. In addition, we have the undefeated teams that play later tonight, who will feature 2 other additional teams out of the East, with Alabama State, Jackson State.
Well, they've already played.
They already played. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They've already played.
In terms of that matchup, so there's nobody left except for the East divisions. Let me point that out. That's really where I wanted to go. But shout out to Brian and Kelvin of the ONG Strike Zone. They wanted to make sure in our Black College Sports Network update that they were a little concerned when the votes came out in terms of no Rattlers after winning the East. True. Want to make sure we put that out there. They did win the East, and they didn't have any of the players that made it to the first team. Prairie View won the West, had several players on the first team, including a couple of all-conference mentioned, newcomer of the year, pitcher of the year. And so they were concerned about that. Tournament got started, and the East beat up on the West early on. So they made sure you recognize that. The teams out of the West went into the loser bracket. So after the first couple of days, first day, East was 4-0 over the West. So we kind of gave them some updates. I gave, some thoughts and just said, hey, people vote. And they didn't want to accept that. They were a little nervous. I teased them the other night, a close game. They were number 1 seed, and the number 4 seed took them to the wire. They got out of that game. Credit to them. They were able to win the game at one point as it went into extra innings. 4-3 scored late in that game. Prairie later that game lost 3-0 to Bethune-Cookman, their 4th seed. So West went into the loser bracket. The East continued to win. So this morning, when you have your games after West had their first two teams knocked out yesterday in that loser bracket. The East won with FAMU, the number 1 seed, beating the number 2 seed, Texas Southern 1-0. And so the East went up 5-0. It won 5 games. West has not had a win over the East. Another game came up. After that, I asked her, what is the point differential in the games? Before that information came up, they wanted to make sure that they shared that Bethune-Cookman defeated Prairie View 3-2 and eliminated Prairie View, which is why Bethune-Cookman and Prairie View, that was a 4 seed over 1 seed. That's twice that Bethune-Cookman had got Prairie View. Kevin wanted to make sure that I knew that and everybody else in our BCSN group knew
You
that.
know it's bad. You know it's bad when he's out here giving Bethune-Cookman
I was about to
let you know how he felt about it.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out.
I ain't giving no buzzer props, so I don't understand how far we going with these things. I don't understand.
I was trying to figure out why he was so excited about the Wildcats, but that's a different discussion.
He was singing Hail Wildcats for a second too. Okay.
So as we get into this, just for clarification, they did, Brian, after I gave him assignment to his credit, I asked him to get in the analytics, get some data, as Mike would say. Game 1, Alabama State defeats TSU 5-4, +1, if you would, for the E. Jackson State defeats Southern 5-3, +2. Charles kind of enjoyed that, so make sure to acknowledge that he got in there a little bit himself. Mm-hmm. FAMU over Grambling, 3-2. That's +1 for the East. Bethune-Cookman 3-0 over Prairie View. That's +3. FAMU over TSU +1. And Bethune-Cookman 3-2 over Prairie View +1. So East +9 run differential. The average of these games was 1.5 difference per game. So pretty close in that category. But Kelvin wanted to make sure that everybody knew. So I'm putting this out there. This BCSN on BCSN violence from the ONG strikes on the inside the HBCU sports lab. That the West number 1 lost to East number 4 twice. Didn't win a game with all of them. All SWAC players and coach of the year. I said, oh, that's so mean. And then Brian posted a picture. The guy that sits back in his chair with his little thing of popcorn, lays back there. So I told him I will report that back to the director of athletics and the head coach next week when I meet them. I'll also report the Texas Southern Vice President and Collegiate Athletics decision on the head coach maybe he made. I don't know, just putting that out there. I said, thanks for the data point, and I'll make sure they know. I also was so into this, I was having my leadership team meeting, and the leadership chair of the Department of Health, Needs Out and Sports Studies is Dr. Fisher. Dr. Fisher also serves as assistant athletic director and the senior women's administrator. So I told her that there were some concerns out there from the Black College Sports Network. I let her know that Brian and Kelvin had some concerns, and what I just told you, I told her. She had a response, but I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to put that out there in public. And so I just, let Kelvin know. Who knows? Last time they started talking like that, Prairie View went after the coach and landed.
Be careful what you wish for.
Just saying. They did it again with the basketball coach. Next thing I know, he up in Grambling. So.
But they asked for that. They kind of asked for that.
No. Be careful.
Okay.
Board.
The board asked for that. Brian did not ask for that.
Kelvin was not necessarily all that happy too. Things may have worked out. I think they got a coach that they want or whatever, but let's not revision history. They were not happy with it. So I'm just saying, some people will answer your call when you said changes need to be made. Sometimes they decide that the change may involve your coach as well. So, just be careful. With that being said, Charles, what are your thoughts in terms of the softball tournament in all seriousness? What are your thoughts on the softball tournament?
I think it's surprising. Especially when you take a look and Bethune-Cookman knocking off Prairie View twice. I didn't see that happening. Prairie View's been very formidable. I mean, when you take a look at what they've done over there on the SWAC West. So for them to get in the tournament play and 2 in barbecue, I didn't expect that whatsoever.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head, including what you think what they did in non-conference play early on the season. Had a pretty good season. Went to the softball tournament as many of the teams in the SWAC dominated in that tournament. I went undefeated. David, what are your thoughts in terms of the SWAC tournament thus far?
I watched some of the games today, and I will say there's some pretty good softball being played. A lot of strategy being done, things of that sort. But I will say the East dominance in this bracket, man, it was telling. I know they were all close games, but the previous game, it was 3-0 for the majority of the game. I caught a decent chunk of that while I was in the office today. And the majority of that game was 3-0. And then I missed the ending. And I saw the final score was 3-2. I was like, oh, they tried to make a comeback. I see you. But I think it's been good so far. I'm fascinated to see if Jackson State can finish it off and get it done. They're going to have the advantage because they got to be beaten twice now. So that's a good thing. And got to have some different set of news. I understand. But
change the news cycle.
Yeah, you gotta swap that cycle sometime, man. You gotta swap that cycle sometime. But it'll be fascinating to see because Jackson State now have a significant advantage, being undefeated. I mean, to have to win 2 games in such a short span while Jackson State kind of got a rest period is going to be a telltale to say the least. So we'll see. So if y'all gonna do it, y'all better get it done tomorrow. There should be no if necessaries for y'all, Charles.
Tempo. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah. I think they knocked off Alabama State this afternoon 2-0.
Yeah. We just talked about Ashley. He looked like he's in position to put up another trophy. Not bad. It will be an all East affair. The final 4 teams. We saw that a couple of years ago. With the West getting 3 out of 4 teams in the final. We've seen it several years where the East had 3 of the 4. So now we finally have the final framework where all final 4 teams are in the East. So with this being said, take it to a bigger picture. Charles said this real early when a lot of folks thought starting with football that the power was going to be in the West. But at the very beginning, we found after that season and the next couple of seasons in football, the power has been in the East. The last 4 champions have come out of the East, 3 of them in Jackson State. And that is during Coach Prime era, winning the first 2 with the expansion. And then obviously the last one with TC Taylor. FAMU has gotten one in there. You talk about in terms of a lot of the other sports. That are split into divisions. Baseball, obviously, has been in a lot of ways dominated by the East, other than Grambling breaking through and getting it done last year. And you've seen it in many of the other sports, other than basketball, which is not divided in divisions. But if you look at the champions, it has been in the West. Any correlation, any thoughts in terms of what's taking place here in regards to the East being able to dominate? Is it just early? Is it not enough data points to really say that's a thing? Or?
Well, I think you make a great point all the time in terms of it's a very cyclical thing. I mean, there is a point in time where I would sit around and wonder. I was like, I don't know if the East is ever going to, get back into things in the football business because it was, Grambling. You had Alcorn in there, who's now in the West. But I mean, just for a second or two, I mean that dominance was on the opposite side of the conference when you take a look at it. But now it is kind of flipped around from a football standpoint. It's probably not enough data points. I mean, where you can sit back and say, there's something to this, but I just find it kind of interesting.
Before I let you go, because David, I do want to hear your point. I do want to give an update. We've ended 2, and FAMU remains on top of Bethune-Cookman 1-0 after 2 innings of complete play. David, jump in here and get your thoughts before we take our next break.
I think after the expansion, I think it matters where those teams went, right? You got Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman going to the East, and Florida A&M has always been known as a football power, like from that standpoint. And then when it comes to like baseball and softball, they were always in it. Both Florida schools were always in it in the MEAC. And I mean, basketball is basketball. Like I can give all the jokes about FAMU and basketball, but that's a whole different discussion point. But overall, I think that might be a factor as well. Like we've had those discussion points about like maybe we take the divisions out on the football side of the fence and try to make it fascinating. But if you do that, you might have 2 East teams in the SWAC championship every year, which is tough, which is very tough. But I think that might be a factor too with FAMU and Bethune being in on that side. And I think that's a big factor as well when you talk about some of the other sports because they were really good.
I'm telling everybody now, it's a matter of time before Southern and Prairie View have.
Prairie View gonna figure it out in football, man. I'm telling you,
they're gonna have that.
They're gonna figure it out.
You got folks that get prepared now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You better do it now because I love the Jackson hire. So I think Prairie View is about a year away. I think they can win it this year.
A lot of credit goes to FAMU to both of your points. But Bethune-Cookman is struggling. They hadn't won a championship in the conference yet. Now, baseball looks like they're going to get it done.
Yep.
They're really close to checking off that box to the credit. I want to make sure I do that. And obviously, they're still in the softball tournament too, so we don't want to cross that one off in terms of what that looks like. But, yeah, it's fascinating when you thought about it. One of the reasons many people thought when you kind of lean back in football that the West was going to be so strong. Obviously, you had Grambling and Southern, what they did. Prairie View has kind of at least been at the top of the division. Hadn't really won a championship since they got it done back with KJ Black. To give shout out to him in terms of what the work he's doing over there in Atlanta with the Falcons. But when Alcorn came over, many people thought that was the power shift. So for me, it's also the rise of Jackson State because we had how Jackson State had fallen off the map. Much like you kind of think about it. Southern, same thing with baseball. Southern has taken a dip. Obviously, they had that championship in there, but in terms of their standing of regular being in the place, the fact that they hadn't really been to what expectation had. So those kind of things are fascinating, like you said. You know, those programs that have been able to show it. Texas Southern stays right there, but there was a time when they were in the mix in terms of getting it done in terms of baseball. But nobody looks at basketball.
My Jackson State folks can't wait to beat me up if I say anything nice about something. Oh my God.
Now, you ain't supposed to say nothing nice about something else. Let me get you out of here. Let's take our next break and come back on the other side for Charles gonna lose his I love card.
Yeah, look, man. All right.
Hey, I got my championship t-shirt on.
No, that ain't enough. No.
Oh,
do better.
Man.
They say you got to do better.
Do better. Exactly.
Let's take our half break, our second break. We'll come back on the side. We're going to talk about superlatives. Maybe we can be safe on that side. We'll just talk about the top 5 players in different stats and give them a little love and see who's getting it done there. We'll be right back after this break.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and Instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
Human Voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, keversvoice.com. Always on, all the time.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop and David L. Rhodes. With that being said, let's get into the SWAC. I would like to go down and look at the top 5 players in various data points for the conference in terms of individuals getting it done. We're going to look at batting average and home runs first. Starting with the top 5, you have Jordan McClatty. He's still getting it done, batting 382. And then you have Texas Southern's Kelton Phillips, number 4, batting 391. Trey Rutledge for Alabama A&M has a hot bat. He's at 402, getting over that 400 mark, which is always impressive. Number 2, Juan Cruz, batting 410 thus far. And then Southern's Cardell Thibodeau, 446. I got to see him in person last weekend. And boy, he is just magic at the plate in terms of his vision and eyes. He almost seems like he can pick the ball out. He is motionless in terms of his head, shaking his head as the ump, and he's just leading the ump in regards to no, that was right there. And you come to him, he's going to take the most of it in big play in terms of coaxing a walk that put Southern in position in that Saturday game to get the big home run late that put them in position to get the win. So home runs, though, at number 5, Will Brown with 12 as things kind of start to shake out here. Number 4 is Bethune-Cookman's Jesus Venegas at 12 as well. And then Damian Garcia for Texas Southern University with 13. Cardell Thibodeau, not only does he have a hot bat in terms of average, he has a little bit of pop and power. He has 15, and he's tied with Andre Martinez also with 15 on the season. So, gentlemen, I'm going to start with you, David. What are your thoughts in terms of these 2 particular categories and the guys that are getting done, particularly Cardell Thibodeau leading number 1 in the batting average, but right there tied for first in home runs as well.
He's a star, man. There ain't no other way to put it. Like to do that. I mean, like I know Southern's season hasn't been as well as they thought, but that's one shining guy. I'm not sure if he's a senior or not, but if he is, MLB gonna be looking at him, man, because phenomenal batting average. Bethune-Cookman's got a lot of guys on the home run, so you know there's some hitters there. So I'm kind of fascinated to see how the rest of the season is going to go on once we get into the postseason play for the SWAC for those teams.
Good stuff, good stuff. Charles, your thoughts in terms of those top 5? Anything that has changed over the weeks? Obviously, you got to see during the season Kelton Phillips and Damian Garcia in terms of what they do Texas Southern regularly. But you also seen a couple of other folks come into town, Southern, as of late. What are your thoughts in terms of what you've seen, particularly from the ones that you get to put your eyes on, and then as you follow and watch the conference play thus far this season in regards to batting average and home runs?
Yeah, I think I get an opportunity to see week in, week out. Texas Southern's top, the first 4 hitters they're as potent as any in the conference. When you're talking about Kelton Phillips, Bryce Hughes, Damon Garcia, best in that cleanup spot. But you also, what's my kid from Riverside, California? Name escaping me right now, but their top 4 hitters week in, week out. They get the job done for Texas Southern. It was really interesting last week to sit up and watch Texas Southern's and Southern's the top of their lineups really go at each other, and you really saw that in game 1. I think it was game 1. The score was 16-15, but they just beat up pitching. And then when they got on base, they were taking off. So, and Thibodeau was taking off, and then Kelton Phillips was taking off. So you had guys in that series, multiple hit games, multiple stolen bases. I mean, it wasn't saying a lot, I mean, and you would the thing that jumps out, you think about the defense part, but nah, they were just putting on an offensive showcase. But I mean, those players really jumped out for me. And then you had Southern. I mean, the heartbreaker last week in terms of 3-run home run in the top of the 9th inning against Texas Southern. So it's once you get into these teams' bullpens, oh boy, things can go left fast, and that was evident last week, and that was a really nice series to sit up and watch. The thing that jumped out today, I was looking at the statistics, and we always talk about Bethune-Cookman and their pitching, but I mean they got 3 guys like in the top 7 in home runs in the SWAC. When you take a look at Andre Martinez, you got Jesus Venegas, and then you also have Jorge Rodriguez. So it's like, damn, I can't wait to put my eyes on them in the tournament in terms of what they are able to do, because I'm curious. I need to look and see where they hit in the lineup, because gee whiz, I mean, they got guys with some serious power, and we know they're going to bring the pitching with guys like Joel Core and those guys. So they're going to be an interesting team to sit up and watch in the tournament.
I want to give a shout out for those that get it done on the base pad. Once they get on, they find a way to move around, which is number 5. Going back to Bethune-Cookman is at the top of the conference. Sergio Rivera with 27 stolen bases. At number 4, Southern University, Jacoby Ratcliffe at 29. Not to speak of Southern, they heated up a little bit as of late. Alabama A&M, Trey Rutledge. So batting average, as you see, he gets on quite a bit, and when he gets on, he's able to take him a base or 2 along for the day. Trey Rutledge with 34. At number 2 spot, Jordan McClatty. We talked about him in terms of batting average. As he gets on top 5, he is second in terms of stolen bases with 43, and he's just behind. Yeah, exactly. And he's 2 bases behind Texas Southern's Bryce Hughes with 45. So interesting what that looks like there. I want to go to the other side and look a little about the arms. Look at it in terms of wins, ERA, and strikeouts, and then I'll ask you all your thoughts on any or all of the areas in terms of what you want to do. Number 5, Eric Elliott with 6 wins on the season. 4th spot, Bethune-Cookman. We got a pair of them when we talk about 4 and 3. It's first Tanner Bacabello with 7, Edwin Sanchez, Bethune-Cookman as well with 7, and they're tied with the 2 spot with Garrett Workman also with 7. Nick Luck with 8 on the season, Southern in terms of wins. When we look at ERA, your top 5 in terms of what that looks like is Garrett Workman with the ERA of 4.01. Pine Bluff, Kenny Fabian has moved up in there and getting some things done in the 4th spot at 3.81 in terms of ERA. Edwin Sanchez, not only getting it done with wins, but as he's keeping it down with 3.76. Carson Kelly, the 2 spot is 3.26, and Eric Elliott with 6 wins also has an ERA of 2.83. Lowest one out there in terms of Jackson State. Strikeouts, we have a pair of Jackson State Tigers at the top, but starting at number 5, you got Bernard Grace with 62 strikeouts on the season. Bethune-Cookman, Joel Core with 63. Alabama State's Johan LeBoy with 67. And then we get Eric Elliott that jumps up to the 70 mark with 77 to be exact. Eric Gonzalez with 86 in terms of the strikeouts. So top up there, getting it done there. We're in the top of the third, just to give you an update. The play first baseman close. They called the runner safe at first, but they're reviewing it. So we'll give you an update there. In terms of that, if they get it like that, bases would be loaded. So you're talking about 1 out or 2 out. So it'll be fascinating to see what that looks like. We'll give you some updates after you all give your comments. I'll stick with you, Charles, in terms of your thoughts.
Well, obviously, ERA is the one that jumps out for you. Eric Elliott, 2.71. But I always look at opposing batting average in terms of how hitters are hitting against that particular pitcher. Right now, you have, if I'm not mistaken, 51 guys in the SWAC hitting over 300. So that's always a stat that jumps out for me to go along with the ERA. But opponents are only hitting 208 against Eric Elliott. So I'll give them all the credit there. Then you have Eric Gonzalez sitting at 7 wins for Jackson State. But you take a look at Eric Elliott, he's tops in the SWAC in terms of ERA. Opponents hitting only 208 against him. Heck, he's pitched 63 innings thus far for Jackson State, and then he's also struck out 88. So he's right there at the top of a lot of categories in the SWAC. And then you have, like I said, I mentioned Eric Gonzalez sitting right there with 7 wins as well.
Good stuff. Still looking at the replay. They call and say bang, bang, though, boy. It's a close one.
I just saw it. I'm like, yeah, that's real close, man.
I'm glad I don't have to call it. David Rose.
Shout out to SWAC Digital, because I'm sitting here watching as well in terms of
phenomenal coverage.
James Crenshaw and the production company, they're doing a tremendous job in terms of some of the replays that you're getting with the softball tournament there.
Great call. I'm glad you talked about that. 538 watching in terms of 16.2 thousand subscribers, and that just up to 541 as things are getting interesting. David, go ahead and give me your thoughts in terms of wins, ERA, strikeouts, either one of them or all of them. What comes to your mind? Before we do that, they have the call. So as he walks slowly to home plate area to make the call, he's talking, and I'm waiting for the signal. They called. They said it was safe.
Yeah, it was safe. It was close.
So we have
it was safe.
It was close. It was close.
Very close.
Colin said, I think there was one of those things, whatever was probably called out there, you wouldn't be able to overturn it.
Yep.
One way or the other. Bang, bang, play. So fascinating to see how that works. So it is 1-1 now. Top third. Runners on first and third with 2 outs. David, go ahead and give your update now.
I'm interested to see with the pitching that Jackson State is doing, particularly on the strikeout side of the fence, if they can make a run in this tournament, man, and take out the Florida schools. It'll be fascinating to see how Jackson State can pull this off. I know it's a hard ask. That's why you got the long shot from Charles, but it's a hard ask. But it'll be because I always believe when it comes to the tournament, when you get into postseason play, that's the most important thing is the pitching. When it comes to baseball,
gotta have pitching. Yeah.
Gotta have. If you ain't got that, you ain't got a shot. So the fact that you got 2 guys that can strike out like that, it's gonna be fascinating to see how you guys can do in the tournament.
Totally agree with you. Let's take a last break. Come back on the other side. If we need to, we'll give you a couple of more updates here, and then we'll get into some of these big series talking about baseball. Who will continue to get it done? Will we get stretched out in terms of who's at the top of the conference, or with things sticking up? Can somebody make a move to find a way to get into that 7 to 8 spot, or will things stay the same? With that being said, let's take our last break, come back on the other side, and have these 2 gentlemen talk about it.
It's like a loop machine. Going around town, trying to get down. It's like a loop machine.
When you're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia from She Say Sports. Make sure to check us out every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on Black College Sports Network, YouTube, and Linktree. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Yes, can't give you an update with Bethune-Cookman's had runners on second and third. It was 2 outs. They got a fly ball to right field that ended the inning. So as you conclude with 3. Top of the third inning, the score is 1-1 going to the bottom. With that being said, let's get into some of these matchups. I'm coming with you, David, and get your thoughts on these, and then get Charles' final thoughts on these as well to see if he has any changes or anything that he didn't get to talk about on Tuesday, I should say, that he wants to point back out today. David, these are the matchups. Florida A&M at Texas Southern University. It's the first trip probably ever in terms of FAMU coming out of, or certainly in a long time, with FAMU coming out of here to Texas Southern in terms of baseball being played in Houston. So fascinating to see this matchup, one for the history. FAMU has a huge, significant alumni base here. They come out for the games. Well, we saw that in football, even in basketball. Been some great games here in H&PE. So I'm interested to see what that looks like on the baseball side of things this weekend. Then you have Jackson State at Arkansas, Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff was hot, but Grambling took them down 2 out of 3, but still playing some pretty good baseball. Interesting to see as Jackson State has lightened up as they got things going in their way. So that's interesting. Prairie View and Mississippi Valley, 2 teams that are trying to find a way to fight into the tournament. So Prairie View has probably the biggest opportunity there. But we'll see what that looks like as they get on the road at Itta-Bena. In football and basketball, things have not been gone the way for Prairie View the last couple of seasons. And some of those matchups as Itta-Bena got their first win as they didn't have any wins against Prairie View on the men's side in basketball. And then Valley has cost Prairie View a couple of division championships as well. With that being said, it's interesting to see what that looks like in baseball. These teams haven't faced off since the conference was an 8-member conference in terms of regular season. Bethune-Cookman travels to Grambling. First time we've seen this matchup on the diamond. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on there. Nice, solid trip for the Wildcats as they bounce back, getting a sweep of Alabama State, and a huge statement for them after losing 2 out of 3 the previous road trip to the Golden Lions. And you have Alcorn State traveling to Alabama State. Alcorn State is struggling, to say the least, this season. Alabama State has a chance to get back to their winning ways in terms of conference play, and we'll see what that looks like. And you have Southern that has righted the ship. They get a long trip, if you would, to Huntsville. Alabama against Alabama A&M. So it'll be fascinating to see what that looks like. Of those matchups, which one stands out to you?
Well, one thing I noticed is that it's East versus West in every match. The other thing I noticed is, but the match that makes it fascinating to me is probably Bethune and Grambling. You got 1 versus 3 in essence. FAMU is right on Bethune's heels from a conference record standpoint. So it'll be fascinating to see Bethune can just keep rolling like they have been all year.
Good point. Shout out to Roy and Brian as well as Kelvin. We get a chance to look at this East-West thing again. Charles, where are you? It seems to keep coming up.
Yeah.
If David just had to bring it back up. I was trying to
Just
let it
sprinkle
go.
it in there.
Fascinating weekend to see if we're going to have any fireworks on that last weekend when you have Prairie View, huge opportunity to go to Mississippi Valley and get a sweep. And we'll see what Southern can do against Alabama A&M as they go on the road to take on Alabama A&M. If you're not talking Jackson State, Southern is one of the hotter teams in the SWAC. Jackson State's won 10 in a row, and Southern has won 6 in a row. So that's going to be a fascinating matchup down at the bottom of the conference standings to see, what happens on that final weekend if we got a team that's trying to fight for that A slot to get to Birmingham. Fascinating. By Jackson State going to Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff has been one of the head turner teams this season in terms of what they've been able to get done. Like you said, FAMU, first time coming out here to Houston. Very interesting statistic. Houston, Texas Southern has lost 6 out of their last 9 at home. They've been swept twice at home. So that's really interesting to kind of sit back and take a look at. And then you got a team like FAMU coming in here. Texas Southern really has to show themselves this upcoming weekend against FAMU.
Good stuff when you talk about it. When you look at those matchups, just to give the records again in terms of the SWAC, you start with Alcorn State at the bottom at 1-23. Just going to give you the SWAC records. Alabama A&M at 2-22. Going from the bottom to the top, obviously Mississippi Valley State at 6-18. Prairie View at 10-11. Southern at 13-11. Arkansas Pine Bluff at 12-9. You have Texas Southern at 14-10. You have Jackson State at 14-10. Alabama State at 15-9. Grambling State at 16-8. FAMU at 18-6. Bethune-Cookman at the top of the conference with a 2-game lead over those Rattlers. The Bethune-Cookman Wildcats sit at 20-4. But as you allude to, it's going to be fascinating to kind of see how things go this weekend. You do bring up the point that you do have the East versus the West, or the West versus the East, depending on how you want to look at it. So I agree that's fascinating. When you look a little closer in terms of those matchups, you have the West with 3 home games and the East with 3 home games. So it's even there. So you get a little chance to see East versus West, what those matchups will allude to. So I'm intrigued about what that is. You have a couple of them where it features the teams at the top of the standing, and obviously a couple with the bottom of the standing. So you have that to even it out as well. With that being said, let's bring it to the close. Any final statement, David?
Just one quick shout out to my Aggies. They're going to be hosting the CAA Track and Field Championships next week. So good luck to them. Hopefully they can get it done on the men's side. Northeastern has been winning these championships for too long. We got to stop this streak. They've won 9 straight on the men's side, so we got to end that immediately. So hopefully we can get it done next week.
Good stuff. Charles?
Great baseball action this weekend. Like I said, you got some very interesting matchups, and we'll see what happens. I'm very curious about what happens down toward the bottom of the standings with regards to Southern and A&M and Prairie View at Mississippi Valley to see what happens with that 8 seed going into next weekend's particular showdown. Could it be Southern and Jackson State? Southern fighting to get into the tournament.
Good stuff. Very true. I hope that comes down to it. It'll make things a little bit interesting if that's the case, to say it like that. Let me say this as we start off the show, congratulating everything, update here. You have 1-1 bottom of the third as Bethune-Cookman has retired the side as they come off the field into the bat. So 3 complete 1-1 fascinating matchups as we've seen throughout this SWAC tournament. Again, as we congratulate all those graduates, as whether it's high school, particular college, I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up. When we talked about all all this SWAC expansion. This is the first graduating class of the expanded SWAC in 2021 that will feature, as Charles alluded to this a while back when they were having a discussion with the SWAC football championship game, when the thoughts that it would be canceled, that you had two generations folks that's all they knew. So that kind of made me think about this. And I put this in my calendar a couple of years ago when things started out, that 2025 would be the first graduating class. Freshmen that came into the SWAC during this year, that all they know is a SWAC conference that features 12 members, including the expansion of FAMU and Bethune-Cookman. Similar, like you have graduates coming out of the MEAC, all they know is the 18 member MEAC. And you have graduates of A&T. All they know is being outside of an HBCU conference. They have the split where they've spent some time in the Big South as well as the CAA. Hampton, similarly, you see that as well. So just kind of intriguing factoid that comes in as the Dean of College of HBCU Sports. So with that, thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, comes from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Watts and Charles Bishop, as well as David L. Rhodes. Again, I want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watts and Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock. That will do it for this weekend. We'll get back with you with the updates of what took place on the diamond, as well as giving you an update of who came out with the SWAC championship. You have your outdoor track and field championship, so it'll be interesting to see how that comes. We'll be near the end of that Tuesday, coming out of that championship. So we may have some updates by showtime to give you what that looks like. Follow me on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. That's DrKenyattacavil. That's Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on Facebook and YouTube. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
David?
Lecture.
Dismiss.